Hello and welcome back. We shall continue our discussion on WP query in this video as well. Let's pick it from where we left. Now on my home page, I can see only the list of posts, not the movie post type. What if I want to add a custom post type to my blog archive page? How can I do that? What we can do is to keep it simple. We will add an action to pre-get posts. In this function, we will get the WP query. So I will use a query object. Here you can check whether the query is a main query or not. This is important. I will explain why. We are checking for is main query because this action, the pre-get post action, will be called for all custom WP query executions. In addition to the global WP query, which is created and executed by WordPress. Developers also use WP query for custom database queries or fetching posts based on different arguments. So in those custom queries, the pre-get_posts method will be used. But here on the front end, this is the main query. We want to modify the arguments. That's why we will use the isMain query check. So isMain query will simply check whether the current query is the WP the query or not. WP the query is another global variable. This will be used to check whether the current WP query is the main query or not. That's why we have used isMain query. If it's the main query, then we will set the post type. First, I need to get the existing post. What I will do is add a post. We need to set or add it. So the post and movie. Okay. Since we are setting up multiple post type, I will use post type. I have passed the post so that it doesn't override the change. If I simply set the post type to movie, it will fetch only the movie post type. So let's see how this works. If you refresh the page, you will now see the Dark Knight and Oppenheimer and no other posts. Now, if you want to set, like if you just want to add a movie, then you first get all the post type variables, merge the movie tag, and then set it again. For now, this is a demo. So I can simply put it in the array format. I will pass the post and the movie and simply add it. Now, if you go here, you can see the template sticky. This is a sticky post, and that's why it's always comes first. Then you can see the Dark Knight or another movie post record. And there are other blog posts. There are only two movie posts that exist. That's why there are only two. If there were more posts, they would be displayed based on the date in descending order by default in WP query, meaning newer posts appear first. So this way you can modify and you can set query vars and modify the properties of the query. If you just want to modify the main query, then it's better to use this isMain query check. And also we don't want to do anything with the admin. Okay, so you can add this isAdmin check. Then you will simply want to return, because in the admin this main global WP query is also executed, and this will create a problem. So let's see what could be the issue. If I just comment this code here, go to the dashboard and go to the posts. Now you can see the posts. You can also see the Dark Knight and Oppenheimer. right? On the all posts page, you can see all the posts, including the movie post type, displayed through another main query fetched by WordPress using the global WP query. This condition is necessary. If it's the admin area, we simply return to avoid modifying the query there. We don't want to modify it in the admin unless we specifically want to. You can modify something in the WordPress admin, but currently we don't want to. And that's why we add an isAdmin check, and inside it we simply return. Now you don't see the post. Also, in the movies, you see the movie post only. So this condition is very important when you are modifying the WP query arguments, and it is very helpful. Based on those various conditions, you can modify the query using pre-get posts. For example, again, a hypothetical example. The category taxonomy is also assigned to a custom movie post type. But by default, the category archive page only displays the default post and not your custom post type. So here, instead of only using isMain query, you can simply add another condition to check if it's category archive page. The function that can be used would be isCategory, and it will simply check whether the category is set. If you want to check for a particular category, then you can pass the category slug or the ID. It will just check whether the category property is set or not. If it's set, then it will change the post type or any other arguments you want to modify. So based on this conditional tags as well or methods, you can do a conditional modification of the WP query, and it's really helpful. These are the things you can use to modify the behavior of the global WP query or the custom WP query. Don't forget to go through all the parameters available and also go through the WP query and its class definition. See how the WP query looks, what functions are there, what properties are there, how the getPosts method constructs the SQL query based on the arguments we have passed, and what other actions or filters are executed by the WP query. And probably, if you know about actions and filters during development, you can implement if it's needed based on use cases. You will know the WP query must have executed some actions or filters. So let's look for that. Similarly, we have used this pre-get-post action where we have modified the WP query arguments based on the conditions, right? So that's really helpful for exploring purposes. Okay, so yeah, that's all about the WP query. This WP query class reference is very helpful, and you can go through all the properties and methods. If you call here, you can see all the properties and read the documentation as well. So you know about it, all the documentation and how this queried object is used to identify the current post or page. Let me go to the queried object now. We don't need this right now. Now you want the current category page, but the current list category, and you want the object ID for example. So first we will use WP query, then get queried object, and another one is get queried object ID. Now in the front end, learn WordPress visit site. You can see the 0 and empty because it's a blog archive page. We are not on archive pages. Let me just comment this out for now so that we can replace it. Now the template sticky. Okay, let's see. This is a single post page. So let's see what argument it gives. Now you can see the 18. So the current queried object ID is 18, which is a current single post ID. and it's returned as a WP post here. Now let's go and check what it looks like on the author archive page. I'm going to author archive page. This is my user archive page. So I'm just uncommenting this one, and here now you can see the two. This is my user ID, and here you can use a WP user class. Okay, so this is the queried object of the queried query. Currently this is the author archive page, and the current logged in author archive is displayed. So that's why it's displaying it this here. Now similarly, if you go to the category, for example, let's say the block category, I will just uncomment it. Here you can see the term, a block term object. If I uncomment it and if I refresh now, you can see the block term ID and then a WP term object, because the current archive page is a category archive page and the term is the block term or block category archive page. That's why it's a queried object. So based on these archive pages and different types of pages, this queried object will be set by the WP query. This is also helpful if you need the current object ID or the term ID. Based on that, this object ID is used by the WP query as well for fetching or checking whether the current page is a category page, an archive page, or something else. So that's all about this. Do not forget to visit the WP query class and learn about every property. There are multiple properties, but it's better to learn them so that we know at least there are some things in WP query that we can use during development. There are methods as well. So in the methods, you can see the entire list of methods here and what each one does. Go through each method. I know this is a very long list and it's very time consuming. But trust me, knowing all these things is very helpful during development. You can achieve any complex task or features, and this knowledge is also helpful for debugging. So if problem occurs somewhere, then you know, okay, what could be this issue? Where can the WP query be changed? Or how can we find the issues in third-party plugins, our own plugins or themes? You can see where these problems are coming from, whether it's related to displaying data, fetching data, or managing it. For example, you have called WP query, but you are not getting the post in the results. It's returning empty. You can print the WP query object, get the request property where you can see the entire SQL query, and then manually execute that SQL query using any SQL tool like PHPMyAdmin, SQL Pro, or any other tool, and see whether the SQL query executes properly or not. If the SQL query is returning the data, then there is something going wrong in the execution of the WP query, and your posts are not being fetched, or it's not returning, or it's not showing any kind of error. This is just an example, but in-depth knowledge of any particular module or feature in WordPress will definitely help developers implement or integrate complex or useful features with WordPress. That's all about the WP query in this video. I hope you have learned something new in these videos. Now it's your turn to go through the WP query class, its parameters, its properties and methods. I hope you explored this in depth and also the WordPress code base for the WP query class and how it is executed behind the scenes. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Jai WordPress.